Tina and I am back, and I am here with another get ready with me / makeup tutorial. This time I am using the Tarteist Pro palette, which recently debuted. Thankfully this is a permanent palette, so you don't have to rush out and get it. You can feel around some more, see if this is something that you're truly interested in. Go out, see reviews, see swatches, swatch it in store for yourself. It's available at ULTA and Sephora. Definitely check it out. But personally, I do like this palette. I actually really enjoy this palette. And I did this simple to me. It's simple, but it's a daytime look. I didn't go all crazy with the eyeshadows at all. I kept it very simple, although it's a smoky daytime look. And I do like the effect of the shimmer shades in this palette. You can wear them damp for a more metallic look, or you can just wear them dry and it will give you a very toned down, subtle sheen on the lids. And that's what I went for today. A very subtle shimmer on the lids with a smoky outer V and outer crease. And my lower lash line, I kept it very subtle as well. It's still smoky, but I didn't line my inner waterline at all. I left that bare. And I really amped up the look with these new Makeup Forever artist Acrylips. Acrylips. It's acrylic and lip combined, so it's acrylip. And I used two of the shades. I used the shade 600 and 501. I used more of the 600 because after I was looking at the look, I was like, I want it to be deep and vampy and purple. So I used more of this shade. But if you want to see how I got this look and to see a look that you can achieve from this palette if you did pick it up for yourself, or you were just interested in seeing how these eyeshadows work, how they perform, then stay tuned and I'll talk to you soon.
Hey there guys, good morning. So as usual, I'm starting out with a clean, freshly washed face, and I'm going to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream just to hydrate and moisturize around my mouth where I've been getting really dry and tight. My skin has felt like it's just dehydrated around there. So this cream is really helping to soothe that area, and I apply that first. Then I'm going to go ahead and fill in my eyebrows off camera, and ta-da! If you want to see a full eyebrow tutorial, I do have one linked below. Now we're going in with my eyeshadow primer. I'm using the Urban Decay Anti-Aging Primer Potion, just applying that all over my lids to help prevent creasing. Next, I'm going in with my Makeup Forever Full Cover Concealer in the shade number 12. I'm applying that directly beneath my brows and also all over my lids. This is going to act as a base for our eyeshadows, and it's also going to help us clean up the shape of the brows. So I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills number 18 concealer brush just to create a sharp defined outline on the underside of my brows, and also pulling that concealer down onto the eyelids, which I'll then blend out with the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush just to make sure that we have even coverage of this concealer and it's nicely spread all over the lids. And this concealer sets down to a matte and waterproof finish, which is actually great to use as an eyeshadow base, but you do have to work quickly before it sets down in place. And I'll brush a little bit through the start of my brow just to make sure it looks nice and soft and diffused. Now going into the Tarteist Pro palette, like I mentioned, that we're going to use throughout this video. And I'm going into two shades from the second column, the shade Bold and Innocent, and these are two caramelly brown shades, and I'm buffing that back and forth in my crease area using my Eddie Funkhauser large crease brush. This is going to act as our blending and transition shades just in that area, and I'll make sure that I have a nice even layer of the shadows to begin with. Now I'm going back into the palette and I'm grabbing this orangey shade in the top row. It's the shade Whimsy, and it's just a burnt orangey brown, and I'm going to use the same Eddie Funkhauser brush and slowly build up the color on my outer lid and outer crease area, and I'm blending as I go. So I'm picking up a little bit of color, adding it to the crease, and then blending it back and forth so we have a nice seamless transition. Now I'm going back into the palette and grabbing the red cherry shade. This shade is Maud, and this is a really beautiful cranberry matte cherry shade. And again, slowly building up the color because I want to gauge the intensity of this. I don't want to go full on color all at once. So I'm slowly picking up color, going back and forth just in that outer crease area, using back and forth motions to blend that color out. Now I'll go into a rich dark shade. This is the shade Drama. This is more like a blackened blackberry shade or a blackened cherry shade. It's a deep, rich, dark, almost purpley plum shade, and I'll buff that on the outer V and outer lid area. I'm going to darken that up even more with the shade Smoked from the top row, which is a rich, dark, chocolatey brown. And I'm moving slowly with this color again because it's very richly pigmented, so I have to move slowly to build up the intensity. Now I'm going to mix two of the shades. I'm grabbing Vamp and Smoke, so that same dark brown shade we used, and now we're adding Vamp, which is a dark blackened plum shade. And I'm going to mix the two shades together using the same Eddie Funkhauser brush, and we're concentrating this just on the outer V and outer crease area. Again, building up the shade and then blending as we go back and forth. And this color got a little bit patchy on that outer crease area, so I'm just slowly building up and blending that out to make sure we have a seamless concentration of color. Now I'm going to grab a Q-tip and a little bit of my Bioderma makeup remover. These Q-tips are charcoal Q-tips from Sephora. I don't know what's so special about them, but I have them, so I'm using them to clean up the shape and give me a sharp outline on that outer V. Now that we have the shape that we want, I'm going back in with the shade Mod, which is that cherry shade, on a smaller blending brush. This is the Chikuhodo GSN 10 brush, and I'm just covering up the little bit of patchiness that we have, and it actually blended in really nicely. Going back again to the palette, I'm going to mix the shade Vamp, which is that deep black and purple, and the shade Drama, again, to go over the patchiness and blend it out. And the colors actually worked pretty well to build up, which I was very happy with. So I'm just blending out the edges with the blending brush. Now I'm going into the shimmery shades. I'm grabbing the shade Minx, which is a rosy bronze shade, and I'm applying that on the center of my lid and closer to the outer lid area using my Rite Aid synthetic eyeshadow brush. And I'm just pressing that on the lid to build up the color, and I'm moving back and forth in zigzag motions to blend that outer crease area in with the shimmer. And I'll go back in with the blending brush from Smith Cosmetics. This is a 230 small quill brush, just to move that matte shade into the shimmer and give a flawless blend. And I'm going in with the shade Glam and Classic from the palette, which are just two light champagne shades, and I'm blending them together and popping them on my inner lid area using the Rite Aid brush, and then I'll blend out the edges using my blending brush from Eddie Funkhauser. Now to highlight under my brow, I'm grabbing the shade Classic, which is a yellow ivory, and the shade Chic, which is kind of a pinky beige shade, and I'm applying that directly under my brow using my MAC 252 large shader brush and blending it downwards onto the brow bone area. Moving on to the skin, I'm grabbing my La Prairie Skin Caviar Essence in Lotion, which is a hydrating tonic that is not oily or sticky and is great for oily skin. So I'm just applying that over the rest of my face to help hydrate my skin before going in with my primer, which I'm using the Josie Marin Surreal Skin Argan Finishing Balm, which I have been loving. And this is just a great finishing balm that hydrates the skin as well, but it's not oily or greasy, and it just smooths out the skin and helps your foundation apply a little bit more smoothly, and it lasts a longer time without getting greasy. For my foundation, I'm using the Born This Way foundation from Too Faced. This is the shade Caramel, and I'm buffing that on my skin using my Marc Jacobs The Face 3 brush. And this shade of foundation actually matches me really well, so I'm just making sure that I blend it around my nose area, around my mouth, getting into all the nooks and crannies, and making sure I blend it also a little bit down on my neck area. Now I'm grabbing the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Complete Coverage Serum Concealer in the shade Dark to Deep. And they have different shades of these, but they're very limited. It's not quite an extensive range. It's just shades like light, medium, dark to deep. But it's a nice coverage, and it does cover my dark circles very nicely. I'm patting that out using a dampened beauty blender. And as you can see, this shade matches my complexion pretty well. I never go for a super light under eye concealer. I'm going to set the concealer in place using my NARS Soft Velvet Loose Powder in the shade Mountain. And I started out applying this under my eyes using my Makeup Forever Ellipse sponge, but I switched over to my Beauty Blender instead to get into those nooks and crannies. And I'm just setting that concealer in place with the sponge, making sure it's budge proof and crease proof throughout the day. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and set my entire face using this powder since it does match me pretty nicely. I'm using a Tarte powder player brush just to apply this all over my skin and set that foundation in place, making sure I blend it along my hairline. Now going back to the eyes, I'll apply my mascara, which is my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, which I absolutely love. And then I'm going to set my brows in place using my brow set from MAC. This is the Pro Long Wear Brow Gel in the shade Brown Ebony, and my brows are going to stay completely in place. For my eyelashes, I'm using the number 117s from Eyelure, which came in a 3-pack, and these lashes are really nice. They're really subtle, but they give a nice fullness to the lash line without being overwhelming. So I'm just popping that on my upper lashes. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of eyeshadow on my lower lash line. I'm mixing the shade Vamp and Drama that we used on the upper lid on that lower lash line using a MAC 242 just to give a slight smokiness to that lower lash line area. Then we'll go in with my MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara just to make sure those lashes pop out against the lower lash line, but I'm not going to apply a lower waterline liner. Now moving back to the face, we're grabbing the Color Wheel Amazonian Clay Blush Palette from Tarte. And I'm going to use the shade Montage, which is a berry tone shade, on a Zoeva blush brush. And I'm just popping that on my cheeks just to give a little bit of flush to my cheeks. I'm building up very slowly because I don't want to apply too much and then have to blend it out. And then I'm using the highlight from the palette. I'm using the shade Idol, and I'm mixing it in with one of the shimmery brushes. This is Culture, which is a shimmery golden peach. I'm mixing the two together just to pop that on the tops of my cheeks to act as a shimmery kind of corally highlight. And I'm just blending that out using a Morphe highlight brush. And then to contour my cheeks, I'm going in with this Multitasking Perfecting Powder from Becca in the shade Dark Golden on my angled brush from Urban Decay. This is the Contour Definition F109 brush, and I'm applying this to the contours of my cheeks and also to the temple area just to give a little bit of definition and bronze to my face. Now moving on to the lips, I'm using these brand new Makeup Forever Artist Acrylips products. These were sent to me and I decided to try them out for this look. I'm using the shade 401, which is a rich berry wine shade. And I thought it was just a little bit too red for this look, so I'm going to grab the shade 600, which is a blackened grape shade. And I'm going to mix the two together. And I thought this purple looked a lot better with the eye look that we have going on. So I'm just going to apply that to the majority of my lips to really make it that rich dark purple instead of that cranberry wine shade. And then I'll grab one of their new aqua lip liners. This is the shade 13C to outline the edges of my lips and give a crisper outline to the liquid lip, which is a little bit glossy, and it's not really a liquid lip that sets in place. It stays glossy and beautiful. As you can see, I went in with that full purple shade, and I really love how the look came together. It's a beautiful, simple, everyday wearable look with a bold lip color.
Alright guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this get ready with me video. As usual, I'll go ahead and leave a full list of the products used down below in the description box. So if you missed anything, definitely check down there. I will leave links as well to where you can pick those up, as well as links to my Instagram and Twitter page where you definitely should be following me along. And if you liked the video, definitely hit the thumbs up button, favorite, and share with your friends. And until my next video, which will be very soon, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!